Good morning, sixth graders. Happy little Friday. You guys have seen this slide already, done your thing. Just realized I had a typo that I'm going to fix really quick. We are going to go ahead and get started. In today's video, I'm going to put Boy the Painted Cave in a separate video. Yesterday, I think because it was so long, it took a really long time to download and become available to you. So I'm hoping this will break things up a little bit. And today, because we kind of have a lot to talk about too. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's book is called I'm talking about the Lemonade War. This right here is actually the Lemonade Crime because I accidentally grabbed that instead of the Lemonade War. The Lemonade War, and this is part of the series, is a super good book. It's realistic fiction. It's about a brother and a sister who are super close in age, who have this rivalry for a lemonade stand. And they are both totally different kids, as siblings often are. And they have different approaches to their lemonade stand and how they're going to do it and stuff like that. So awesome story, kind of about sibling rivalry, different personalities, stuff like that. I really, really enjoyed it. So if you're interested, in that book, of course, email me and I will get it ready for you next time I am at Ike. Okay, what we got going on today, it's Thursday. We are going to be reading our second reading of, Superpowers. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And then we are also going to be finding the IRR and answering a couple questions in our Springboard book. And remember the IRR is the incident, reaction, and I forgot the third R stands for, but it's like the lesson. So we'll get to that in a second though, and then I'll remember. Okay, so that's our plan for today. So let's go ahead and look at our Superpowers slide. Okay, as you listen to the story today, you're gonna listen again, follow along. You're gonna put a star next to the incident. You're going to circle the reaction and underline the reflection. So that was that third R, reflection. Okay. And or you could even just write incident, or reaction, reflection next to them. You don't have to put a star, circle, and underline. Do whatever kind of makes sense to you. Okay. So I'm going to grab my book. And I'm going to go ahead and read. Remember to follow along with me. And then again, you are looking for the incident, the reaction, and the reflection. That's the IRR. And those are great aspects, important aspects of a personal narrative. So My Superpowers by Dan Greenberg. Did you ever wish you had superpowers? When I was a kid, growing up on the north side of Chicago and being picked on by bullies, I prayed for superpowers. Like Superman, I wanted to be able to fly faster than a speeding bullet, to be more powerful than locomotives, to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Mainly, I wanted to punch the bullies in the stomach so hard that my fists came out their backs. Winters in Chicago are so cold that frost forms leafy patterns on your bedroom window and stays there for months. The wind howls off Lake Michigan, and a thick shell of pitted black ice covers the streets and sidewalks from December to April. To keep warm in the winter, I wore a heavy wool coat, a wool muffler, wool mittens, furry earmuffs, and one of my most treasured possessions, a Chicago Cubs baseball cap autographed by a player named Big Bill Nicholson. On the coldest days of winter, 3 bullies waited for me after school just for the fun of terrorizing me. The biggest one was a fat, ugly kid named Vernon Manteuffel. Vernon and his 2 buddies would pull off my Cubs cap and tease me with it. They'd pretend to give it back, then toss it around in a game of keep away. One day in February, when the temperature was so low I felt my eyeballs cracking, Vernon and his friends caught up with me on their way home. As usual, they tore off my Cub cap and started playing catch with it. What made it worse than usual was that on this particular day, I happened to be walking home with a pretty girl named Ann Combe. Excuse me, dog. Callie, no, who lived across the street from me. Ann Cohn had green eyes and shiny black hair, and I had a goofy crush on her. As if it wasn't bad enough that these guys humiliated me when I was alone, now they were doing it in front of Ann Cohn. Callie, come here. I was so embarrassed, I began to cry. Crying in front of Ann Cohn. Okay. Sorry, guys. Made me even more embarrassed. I was speechless with shame and anger. Driven by rage, I did what only an insane person would do. I attacked Vernon Manteuffel. I punched him in the chest, and I grabbed my Cubs cap. Vernon saw that I had become a madman. People don't know what to do with madmen. Vernon looked shocked and even a little afraid. He backed away from me, and I attacked the second boy, who also backed away from me. Encouraged by their backing away, I ran after them, screaming, punching, flailing at them with both fists. I chased them for 2 blocks before they finally pulled ahead and disappeared. Breathing hard, tears streaming down my face, I felt I had regained my honor, at least temporarily. That weekend, perhaps, made braver by my triumph over the 3 bullies, I kissed Ann Cohn on her sofa. I can't tell you exactly why I did that. Maybe because it was a cold, cloudy Saturday and there was nothing else to do. Maybe because we both wondered what it would feel like. In any case, I can now brag that at the age of 8, I had personally kissed an actual girl who wasn't related to me. I never did get those superpowers, not as a kid at least. When I grew up, I became a writer. I discovered a particular pleasure in going on risky adventures. I wrote about my real-life adventures for national magazines. I spent 4 months riding with New York firefighters, running into burning buildings with them. I spent 6 months riding with New York homicide cops as they chased and captured drug dealers and murderers. I flew upside down over the Pacific Ocean with a stunt pilot and an open cockpit plane. I took part in dangerous voodoo ceremonies in Haiti. I spent times on a tiger ranch in Texas and learned to tame 200-pound tigers by yelling no and smacking them on the nose. I found that tigers were not much different from the bullies of my childhood in Chicago. I also wrote fiction. I created entire worlds and filled them with people I wanted to put there. I made these people do and say whatever it pleased me to have them do and say. In the worlds I made up, I was all-powerful. I had superpowers. I began writing a series of children's book called The Zach Files, about a boy named Zach who keeps stumbling into the supernatural. In many of these books, I gave Zach temporary powers to read minds, to travel outside of his body, to travel into the past, a triumph over ghosts and monsters. I created another series called Maximum Boy, about a boy named Max who accidentally touches radioactive rocks that just came back from outer space and who suddenly develops superpowers. Maximum Boy is me as a kid in Chicago, but with superpowers. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. In the Zach Files, I created a fat, stupid kid who sweats a lot and thinks he's cool, but who everyone laughs at behind his back. You know what I named him? Vernon Manteuffel. I do hope the real Vernon knows. Okay, so I'm going to put down our guest for now. Hopefully she doesn't go barking everywhere again. All right, so that is the story again. So that should be familiar to you now. We are going to look at this right here. Okay, so the incident, response, and reflection. The major incident of the story was, the narrator's response to the incident was, and then your reflection. The narrator reflected that the incident, okay? So what you guys are going to do now, were you able to find the IRR? Let's find out, okay? So what I want you to do is go ahead and take a moment to fill this out. Okay. The major incident of the story was, the narrator's response to the incident was, and the narrator reflected on that incident. Oops, sorry. So go ahead and fill that out in your notebook. So I will give you a couple minutes to do that. You can push pause if you need more time too. Okay. If you still need more time, go ahead and sorry, I'm being slow. Go ahead and push pause and then finish up. So tomorrow in class, Friday morning in class, we are going to share our IRRs during class time. Okay. And then you're going to have an assessment and Otis on it. So normally in class, I'd have you turn and talk to people right now, but that's not really possible. So tomorrow in class, if you want to share your IRR, you will have an opportunity to do that. And we'll do that during Zoom tomorrow. Okay. So that's that. Let's go back to our 6th grade plan for today. So we just did this. Oh, I'm sorry. We did our IRRs. Now your turn in your springboard book on page 16 and 17. You're going to answer questions 1 and 3 in complete sentences. Okay. These will also help to prepare you for tomorrow's assessment. Okay. And we will also discuss these in the Zoom tomorrow. Okay. So that is what you are going to do right now. You're just going to jot them in your notebook. You don't have to do them in Otis. But again, after the Superpowers story on pages 16 and 17, you're going to answer in complete sentences questions 1 through 3. Or I'm sorry, 1 and 3. You don't have to do 2. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to social studies now. Here is our social studies plan for today. So today we're going to write a paragraph together in class with early man vocabulary. So I am going to write the paragraph. You are going to kind of just like write the same paragraph unless you want to change things. But I'm writing mine as an example. And then you're going to study your notes that you took yesterday during your reading. You can look through the slideshow again. It's on here. And you can study your paragraph for your quiz tomorrow or test. Okay, and so remember, the main thing we're talking about today is adaptation. So I'm going to go to this next slide that I made for myself. Okay, and then I'm going to type my paragraph. You are more than welcome to write my same paragraph. You need to be writing something. So if you want to write your own, that's totally fine. But I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so when I write a paragraph that's kind of summarizing what we've been learning, I like to start with the essential question. So I'm going to say, so our essential question was, explain how humans and ancestors have adapted to survive their environment. So I'm going to write something like this. I'm going to start my paragraph with that. Our human ancestors adapted in many ways to survive their environment. Okay, now remember, if you're just copying my paragraph, which is totally fine, anytime I get ahead of you, push pause on me. That's the beauty of doing it this way. You can push pause at any time. Okay. We know, because remember, we're also focusing on vocabulary, a lot about extinct species by their fossils. Okay. And fossils are organic materials from the past. Okay, so we can, those are from the past, and I'm going to say such as bones, because that's mostly what it is. Okay, such as bones. And we learn a lot about our ancestors that way. We know that our oldest ancestor is called Australopithecus. Okay. This fossil, or this ancestor, walked on 2 feet, which is known as bipedal. Okay, so, and again, bipedal is also one of our vocabulary, oh, darn it. Okay, it's also one of our vocabulary words. So if you want to like underline, highlight, whatever you want, and you don't have to do anything, but as we go, I'm also just trying to give you some ideas for how to take notes and online and stuff like that. So I'm going to underline some of our vocabulary words. Okay. Okay. Homonyms. Oops. So I do want that. Okay. Homonyms are the group of ancestors that consists of mostly modern humans. Modern humans, extinct human species, and all our immediate ancestors. Okay. Our ancestors all adapted to their environment in order to survive. Okay, and then something we also, so we have all these different ancestors that are somewhat related to Homo sapiens, which is what we are today. So when we talked, remember, we talked about genus. Genus is a group of closely related, oh my gosh, sorry guys, species. Okay, and remember we talked about cats at that time. Okay, all of our human ancestors are part of our genus. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and again underline a couple of our vocabulary words such as hominins and genus. Okay, okay. Okay, we are part of the hominin group. Sorry, wait. Or I'm sorry, we are part of the genus group. Oh, shoot, sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, what happened there? Okay. Genus group Homo. Okay. So, and then part of the other ones are Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Homo sapiens. So those are the ancestors that came before us. Okay. So, and there's all sorts of, okay, of the group Homo. And then some of the examples, just so you're like, what does that mean? Examples are Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Homo sapiens. Okay, so those are the Homo habilis and Homo erectus are ones that came before us. Homo sapiens are the genus that we are now a part of. Okay, and then we are going to talk about some of the ways that our ancestors adapted. Our ancestors were able to survive because they adapted to and controlled their environment. Some ways that they adapted were they lived where they were, comma, they lived on the ground. Okay, because remember, like a lot of monkeys and stuff in the earlier ancestors lived in trees. Okay, but it's important to live on the ground to be who we are today and do the things we do today. They walked upright. They got a bigger brain. Evolved over time. They got more efficient with their hands. They used tools. They used fire. They made clothing. And they made shelter. So all of those things that are so important to human survival and human thriving, that's what our ancestors did in order to adapt. Okay. And then when I say they use tools, I'm going to go ahead and put in parentheses there. Okay. That tools are an object that has been modified to help accomplish a task. Okay. All right. And again, they used fire and all of those things. They also, okay, Homo sapiens also began to migrate and populate the world. Okay, so they started moving and stuff like that. And we talked about that. Okay. And so, again, there's some other information on the timeline, but I'm going to go ahead and read this paragraph to you. If you understand this paragraph, and you really have a good understanding of it, you should be good on the quiz tomorrow. So again, you make sure you do your reading in your textbook. Study, if you want to go over the slideshow again, watch some of the videos, and then also this paragraph is helpful too, because this paragraph is kind of like a summary of the slideshow, okay, and talking about adaptation. So I'm going to read it to you, and then hopefully you're understanding everything. So our human ancestors adapted in many ways to survive their environment. We know a lot about extinct species because of their fossils. Fossils are organic materials from the past, such as bones. We know that our oldest ancestor is called Australopithecus. This ancestor walked on 2 feet, which is known as bipedal. Hominins are the group of ancestors that consist of mostly modern humans, extinct human species, and all of our immediate ancestors. Our ancestors all adapted to their environment in order to survive. Genus is a group of closely related species. All of our human ancestors are part of our genus. We are part of the genus group Homo. Example, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Homo sapiens. Our ancestors were able to survive because they adapted and controlled their environment. Some of the ways that they adapted were they lived on the ground, they walked upright, got a bigger brain, got more efficient with their hands, used tools, and that's an object that has been modified to help accomplish a task, used fire, made clothing, and made shelter. Homo sapiens also began to migrate and populate the world. All right. So that is where I'm going to stop this video. And remember, hop back on the Zoom, email me if you have any questions at all. I'm going to stop this video here, and then I am going to make another video, and I will put it into the slideshow under the daily video for Boy in the Painted Cave. You don't even have to watch the Boy in the Painted Cave video if you prefer to read it on your own. But if you want to follow along while I read, which I highly recommend, especially if you are not enjoying the story, I think it helps to make you enjoy it more if you're having trouble understanding and things like that. So anyway, I'm going to stop here, even though we still have Boy in the Painted Cave, so I'm going to make a separate video. Okay, so I will see you for Boy in the Painted Cave in just a bit. Have a great day, buddies.